I was born and raised in South Texas. And like many Texans, I'm quite proud of it. I spent my early childhood years in Corpus Christi and grew up surrounded by Hispanic culture that I never officially learned about in school. When I turned 12, my mom moved me to a tiny town called Tilden. Our population was about 600, and most neighbors were fellow ranchers. And by the nature of the smaller population, neighbors were like family. People got to know one another better as well as each other's traditions and beliefs. And it was there that the Hispanic culture would become a huge part of who I was, even though I didn't realize it at the time. Once I completed high school, I moved back near the Corpus area and met my husband within a few years. We were married shortly after, and I was introduced to the ever-constant traveling way of life in the Navy. But Texas always remained in my heart. And as I was introduced to other cultures all over the United States through the next 10 years, I realized a good portion of my own culture was deeply rooted in Hispanic origins. And they always would be. A few years ago, my husband detached from the Navy and landed a job in New York. We began soaking up all the culture instantly, and it was here that I realized the true meaning of diversity. It was also here that I learned the phrase mosaic of cultures, which to me means a beautiful piece of art with patterns emerging and complementing one another. There's order and not chaos, and each color or culture in this metaphor is still individual yet harmonizing. This became more apparent to me now more than ever before. It was also here in New York that I began trying out the role of a teacher. I directed Vacation Bible School Camp for a couple of summers. I also got a job as a teacher's aide in a local preschool. I loved it and had finally discovered what I wanted to be whenever I grew up. So I decided to pursue my master's in education and make it official. But the Lone Star state of Texas, where everything is bigger, was still tugging at my heartstrings. So my husband and I made the decision to move back to Texas. And I would once again be home and immersed in the culture that had shaped and molded me. And this also meant that I would be teaching students in this same culture, but with more language barriers than what I grew up with. According to the NCELA, there were just over 700,000 English language learners enrolled in Texas schools as of 2008. So as a future Texas teacher, I realized how important it was for me to understand the concepts of educating ELLs. It's also important that our curriculum, unlike in my day, represents this diversity, and all students have the chance to learn about and appreciate one another. We should teach them to embrace this ever-increasing diversity. Faced with this greater percentage of ELLs, Texas colleges incorporate a heavier dose of ESL instruction in their general education programs now. Teachers now graduate with the Generalist ESL certification, making them better prepared to make a difference in the lives of English language learners. And with my roots and newfound knowledge, I hope to someday make this difference too.